Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, you've heard me say before, these are companies that I used as an athletic director. They're all great companies. You should be using them too. So take the next 3 minutes, listen to our sponsorship shout outs, then listen to our guest, and then go visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. Gipper's the official social media graphic solution for us. And if you're looking to create graphics or newsletters to celebrate your athletes and promote your teams, Gipper is where you want to be. Go to Gipper.com. Mention the podcast. You'll get a nice discount. That's Gipper.com. We also want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform that you will use every single day. Things like scheduling, communication, student athlete eligibility and clearance. Who doesn't do that every day? Go to homecampus.com. It's going to do all of these things better and faster. That's homecampus.com. We want to thank the Ohio University Online Masters in Athletic Administration for their support. This is an affordable 20-month, totally online program that also allows you to complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses. To get started, just go to ohio.edu/info/MAA. We want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see all their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I wanted a platform that all of our coaches were going to love. And Huddle came through like a champ. Our coaches, our athletes, even our parents just loved all the tools that Huddle provided. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame. It's also a great way to showcase your school's unique history and your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to our friends at Snap Raise. If you're looking for a fundraiser, you've found it. Snap Raise is hands down the best online fundraising platform out there. We used it at our school with tremendous success because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms, but if you're looking for a fundraiser, you found it. Go to snapraise.com. We also want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic surveys are about connections. They're going to connect you to a group you probably already hear from, the complainers, the gripers. But they're also going to connect you to the 98% that supports your program. And that information is tremendously valuable, especially when you're talking to a frustrated parent or maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to help you take your athletic program from good to great. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to Arkansas today, and we're going to be visiting with Emilianne Cox. Emilianne is a registered athletic administrator. She's also the athletic director and the assistant principal at Lincoln High School, and that's in Lincoln, Arkansas. We got connected through a mutual friend, the great Julie Kelly in Arkansas. So, Emilianne, we're excited to have you. Welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, for our listeners, it's the end of the school year for most of us. We're recording this on May 29th, so it's going to be fairly timely when you listen to it. Just because it's the end of school doesn't mean that athletic directors are sitting at their desk with their feet up. There's always something going on. Emily Ann, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you went to high school and college. Maybe take us up through your college years and then we'll take a break. But what is your origin story?
Okay, yeah. I grew up in Northwest Arkansas. Thankfully, that's where I'm at still right now. So I grew up in Elkins, Arkansas. It's about 20 miles from where I'm at currently. I grew up on a small town farm, rural community. I have an older sister and a younger brother. They were both in education. Now they're not. My sister moved up to higher ed. She's in human resources, so it's kind of a little bit different. My younger brother is now an engineer at Boeing in Oklahoma City. And then when all of us moved out of the house, all empty nesters, my parents adopted my youngest brother. And he is a construction worker at Nabholz, moving his way up. But a little bit about me. I played high school basketball, track, and soccer. And from that, I played all the years I could in high school, and then I played collegiate basketball at University of Arkansas at Monticello, where I got my undergrad degree in mathematics and education. And then from there, you want me to keep going? Just keep talking about myself?
Oh, no, you're doing great. Yeah.
Okay, great. After that, I joined a teacher corps program. So it's kind of like Teach for America, but this is called Arkansas Teacher Corps. And they put me in a location. So they sent me to the Delta region of Arkansas. So I was in Dermont, which is about literally a rock throw away from Mississippi. So we were on Lake Chico, which is a contributory from the Mississippi River, and I loved it. I was there for 3 years, and I got my teaching certificate from being there for 3 years. While I was there, I was the girls' basketball coach, and I've been coaching ever since then. This previous year is actually my first year not coaching, so 3 years in the Delta, and that's actually where Monticello is. If you know any kind of geographic about Arkansas, it's down south. And then after that, had some family stuff go on, and I moved back up to Northwest Arkansas. I was actually at Bentonville West the first year that it opened. Bentonville split into two school districts. That's one of the big fours in Northwest Arkansas. And I went there and I coached as an assistant coach, girls basketball at Bentonville West for 1 year. And then when I was 26, I got my dream job, became the head girls basketball coach at Lincoln, and that's where I'm at now. So I was the head girls basketball coach here for 6 years. The last 4 years, I became also the assistant principal. I guess during that time that I was in Durham, I forgot to mention, the superintendent put me through a leadership program, and she paid for my master's degree. Didn't know what I wanted to do at that point in my life. I didn't know if I wanted to be a high school principal, but she saw my leadership potential and said, "You're going to this." So she really pushed me really to be the leader I am today, and I'm very thankful for that. So now my current position, this is my second year of it. I am athletic director and assistant principal. So
Well, we're going to go into your career in our next segment, but I want to go all the way back to your high school days. Now, you mentioned, Elkins, three sports. Now, obviously, you are a lot younger than I am. When you were in school, uh, did any of your coaches ever come up and say, Emily Ann, you gotta forget about soccer. We need you year round on the basketball club and travel. Was that a thing for you?
no, not in the small school. Just because, my head basketball coach was also the assistant coach for the next sport. So it wasn't like we were, you know, necessarily sharing athletes. I wasn't, going to one sport and I couldn't play the next because those coaches were also coaching all of us.
And again, I just love to hear that. I know, back in my day, there was no club or travel and AAU and that sort of thing. I was only for the best of the best of the best. It wasn't just, come on out and be on a team. So it's good to hear that the small town atmosphere and, coaches coaching more than one sport. I love to see that. When I would interview a coach for a position, what else can you coach? And,
Yeah.
if they kind of looked at me cross-eyed, said, well, gee, I'm a whatever it was. I'm looking for somebody that wanted to be involved in our program. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned that you went on, played collegiately.
Mhm.
I ask this question frequently. I'm curious to hear how you're going to answer it.
Okay.
Can you think of a moment, maybe it was back in high school or maybe it was college,
Mhm.
that at the time it really didn't seem like much, but now looking back with some experience, some perspective, you can point to that moment and say, hey, that was a significant moment for me. Anything come to mind?
Oh yeah, I got a great story. So my freshman year at the University of Arkansas at Monticello, we went to gosh, what is those kind of like like a benefit game in high school. I can't think of what it's called in college, but it's like preseason
Right.
before like it actually counts. Um, we went to play Mississippi State. They whooped us. Okay. It was like 100. I think the score was 104-37. Well, my little freshman, but I scored four threes. I got 12 points. I got 12 of 37 points. I mean, who would have thought, I scored almost a third of the points that we were going to score. We got our butts handed to us, but, it was still fun. I mean, like looking back, I was like, yeah, I scored against, these kids that were, at least got a foot of growth on me because, I'm 5'5", got a little shot. That's it.
Boy, so as you talk to your coaches, as you talk to your athletes, because I know you're the girls basketball coach too. Um, I'm going to guess that that story gets used frequently in kind of underdog,
Oh, yeah.
big time opponent coming to town. How do your athletes respond when you share your experience like that?
So I talked about like not giving up because that wasn't an option. I mean, it's just something in all of us that we had, and I know college athletics is a lot different than high school, but like they ingrained something in us that we've worked this hard. We're not going to show up and just, give up at halftime. Like we're going to go in, get a pep talk from our coach at halftime and strap our shoelaces back up and go back out and fight. So, I've talked about that story about a few times about how, you know, even though you're going to get your nose punched, go out there and represent who is on the front of your jersey and then the name that you bring home on the back. So, as
No,
long as you do
absolutely. Oh, I love it. Representing the sport, bringing honor to the sport. Yeah, good stuff. For listeners, our guest today is Emilianne Cox. She's the athletic director and assistant principal at Lincoln High School. That's in Lincoln, Arkansas. Let's go and take our first break, but we're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Gipper for their support of the podcast. Student athletes and even their parents nowadays, they're on social media. And if you're not promoting your athletes and celebrating your teams, you're really missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com. They're going to show you how to create world-class sports graphics, even newsletters. And the platform is so easy to use, even I can use it. Go to Gipper.com. It's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and college athletic programs. It's professional graphic design made simple. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day for things like scheduling, rosters. How about student athlete eligibility and clearance? Who doesn't use that every single day? Home Campus is going to do all these things and more. It's going to do them better, it's going to do them faster, and it's going to give you a lot more time in your calendar. Go to homecampus.com to get started. That's it, homecampus.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, our guest is Emilianne Cox. She's a registered athletic administrator, and she's the athletic director and an assistant principal at Lincoln High School in Lincoln, Arkansas. Emilianne, you mentioned earlier, your journey. You were a teacher, you're a head coach. Talk a little bit about how those experiences have helped you in your present role as an AD and assistant principal.
Yeah, so um I think that I probably started whenever I was actually an athlete. I would say I was a captain or a leader on the court. So when I stepped into a teaching position, I was the only math teacher at the first school I was at, and I was determined to raise those kids' test scores if it took everything in me. So I taught 7th through 12th grade. I was literally taught a different subject every single period, and then I had athletics at the end of the day. Um, and our school was on a school improvement plan, so I worked closely with a school improvement specialist just to raise our test scores. And I was just driven. I think that's what kind of brought me into leadership in the first place. I think that that's probably one of my characteristics that I keep with me. Um, is I'm compassionate and I'm driven about what I think is important. And clearly I think education and, these athletes, one of the most important things to me is finding something that keeps the kids in school. So for me, I would say it was athletics. I mean, I had an older sister and a younger brother, and we were all three in sports the whole time. And my mom and dad, they graduated from high school, and then that's kind of all that they did after. That's nothing against them. We just know that they wanted more from us, so they pushed us at home. So we all kind of got the push to be a leader in some way. So I would say it comes from everywhere, all encompassing from my home life to the basketball court, and then just having a passion to be the best. Even though I know that there's no limit to that, but striving for it.
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. Um, Now, as a math teacher, you're obviously, and it comes through as you share, you're definitely an educator. Now you're an assistant principal. Sometimes athletic departments and faculty find themselves at odds. One might not appreciate what the other does, and vice versa. What are some things that you do in your role as an athletic director with your coaches and as an assistant principal for the teachers to help both understand the important partnership that athletics and academics have?
So we do a lot of school spirit. I think that that's the number one, and I place and I think that I benefit from this so much is that I'm the assistant principal, so I get to be with the teachers, and create that relationship with the teachers, and I get the athletic side. So, we really try to model it from the top down. So if I'm at a choir concert, I ask the football players if they want to come, or if I'm at a basketball game, how can I get the choir to come? Can I get the choir to sing the national anthem? Can I get the band to come play? And it goes for teachers too. We have, archery, chess, bowling. So some things that aren't necessarily sanctioned by our AAA, which is our Arkansas Activity Association. Like our fishing team is amazing. So we try to support them any way we can. And the teachers have really bought in because we have a mentor program. And a part of that mentor program is the teachers get to pick which grade they feel the most connected to. So usually like our world history teacher, they teach 10th grade. So those kids see that teacher a lot. So it's easier for them to mentor those group of kids. And thankfully that's also one of our football coaches. So I think we just do a really good job of streamlining, from teacher to mentor and then teacher to coach all across the lines.
I love that, how it's all part of the culture of the school. You
Mm.
mentioned, your history teachers, also one of your football coaches. Um, and again, I'm very old school in this. I really understand and appreciate the value that a teacher coach brings to a school. Um, what is your percentage? How many non-teacher coaches do you have in your program right now? And I know
Oh,
sometimes
no,
those things are out of your control.
none. We don't have any. Every single one of my coaches teach.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of jealous athletic directors listening to this now. And
Yeah.
I've had some great community coaches or walk-on coaches
Yep.
during my career, but again, if we can get that person, they can teach math, they can teach history, they can teach AP calculus, whatever it is, okay?
Mhm.
We're going to say, "Hey, what can you coach?" Even
Yep.
as an assistant, we want them involved in the program. Very cool
Yes.
stuff. Let's go and take another quick break, but we are going to come back with some more. So please stay with us. Once again, we're visiting today with Emilianne Cox from Lincoln High School in Lincoln, Arkansas. Let's take that break. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We'd like to thank Ohio University's online Masters in Athletic Administration for their support. The Ohio University program is an affordable 20-month online degree program that not only allows you to earn your master's degree, but also you can earn 11 NIAAA leadership training courses. Um, the program is also going to make you part of a nationwide network with connections in athletic administration across the country. To get started, all you have to do is go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters Program. We'd like to thank Hometown Ticketing for their support. Hometown is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, and more customization. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to help you make the best online ticketing solution. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You're going to be very glad you did.
Mhm.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Emilianne, we've mentioned already that you're a registered athletic administrator through the NIAAA. We get a lot of younger ADs, newer ADs that haven't even started their journey yet. So share a little bit. How'd you get involved at the state level and how did you get involved with the NIAAA?
Okay. At the state level, I had a lot of connections. So when you're in the coaching world, you meet people just like whenever I first started coaching, I joined the Arkansas Basketball Coaches Association, right? So then you go to this meeting in Conway and you go watch maybe college coach or even a high school coach give demonstrations. They do the same thing at the athletic director level for Arkansas. The Arkansas Athletic Director Association. Golly, all those A's. So when I was a girls basketball coach, the athletic director here at Lincoln, he introduced me to it. He actually had me help him whenever I could. So at one point, whenever I was pregnant with my first kid, I was the girls basketball coach, the assistant principal, and I was helping the athletic director. So I was like, he gave me a title of assistant athletic director. It was the craziest time of my life. But joining those associations just helped me understand creating a relationship with those other athletic directors. You can call on them for anything. So having that person that's on speed dial that can just be like, hey, this happened with my coach, just give me some kind of feedback of what you would do. I probably have 10 of those in my phone right now. And they call me too. Especially Julie Kelly. We just, bounce any ideas off of each other. Like recently we just did an athletic banquet and we talked about everything that we could do better the next time. Because we split it into two and she did one big one and hers took forever and I did things wrong, but we're going to make it even better next year. So really just having those people in your corner and you meet them at this athletic director conference. So the last time that I went to the Arkansas one, I finished an LTI course in order to be able to teach and give um information any way I can. So I am actually going to the Oklahoma Athletic Director Conference in July, and I am speaking at that. we're going to give, Julie and I are actually speaking together. We're doing it on like a Title IX refresher and a way to save money. So we're very goal oriented in terms of how to save money and where we can make sure that all athletes are getting that shared money equally through Title IX. So we just wanted to give everyone a refresher. And then moving up to the national level in IAAA. So I've been for 2 years. So this last year was in Orlando, and I finished all of my courses to become a a CAA. So I was a registered, and now I actually passed the test recently. I guess it was in March. Um, so now I'm a certified athletic administrator. So you have to take so many courses, and then you take an assessment, and I passed the assessment. So
Well, here I've been saying RAA this whole time. You should have
that's
corrected
okay.
me.
That's okay.
Congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
CAA. Now, having been on the National Certification Committee for many years, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say, have you thought about what you would like your CMAA project to be on?
Yes, I think I'm gonna do the QPA. I think that I just got to figure out how to make sure we're doing it all right. And then I think if I do it one time, then we're just gonna be making sure I cross off all the T's all the time, you know. Um, I said it right, the QPA, quality performance assessment.
Yes, ma'am.
That
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I think that's what we're gonna do. Now, I haven't started it yet, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to. So maybe next year.
Well, and again, good for you on number one, having a direction that you want to go, but also the QPA is a tremendously valuable, let's say, exercise to go through. It's also tremendously prestigious to have your school and as the AD earn that. For listeners, the answer to the question, what should you do your CMAA project on? It's whatever you are passionate about. I guarantee you are already doing something at your school. Maybe it's with kids, maybe it's with coaches or parents or facilities. Maybe you, like Emilianne, you want to do the QPA, but you're already doing something that would make a great project. And if you're not sure, every single state has a certification coordinator. Reach out to your state certification coordinator. They're there to help you. And if you want another opinion, feel free to reach out to me. I still help folks with their CAA reviews and their CMA projects. So very cool stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Looking back at those courses, I'm really going to put you on the spot now. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, can you think of one course in particular, not the entire course, but something from one of those courses that as you're sitting in that classroom at that round table with those other ADs, when you hear that little nugget, you just go, I've got to take this back to my school. Anything stick out for you like that?
Yeah, so I took the course 511. I can't think of the name of it. I was trying to look it up. I know it's got to do with budgeting,
Mhm.
something with budgeting, but they made me really sit down and think about how much money is spent on female athletics and male athletics and actually writing it down. So yeah, we talk about it. We try to say, oh, their locker room looks the same. Oh, their facilities look the same, but like, are you spending the same amount of money? So like uniforms, like even though the girls look a little bit different than the boys, like, is it equitable? Is it similar and those kind of things? So, yeah, I really benefited from that because I don't know if I was doing everything right beforehand. Um, and not to scare anyone away, that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong if you're not doing it, but just have it on top of your mind that funding for all sports, just make sure it's as equal and equitable as you can make it.
Right. And the when I present occasionally on Title IX, I always mention you don't do this to avoid a visit from a Title IX violation. That's not why you do it. You do it because it's the right thing. Okay.
Right.
The girls, the boys, they deserve those resources. And
Yes.
so as Emily said, make sure it's equitable. Um, we're going to do this at the end of the podcast too. But Emily, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more, maybe ask about how you're going to approach the QPA or just anything.
Yeah.
What's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Um, I'm just gonna give my cell phone number just because it's easier. I would give my email, but I also get like 50 emails from teachers and I don't want to miss it. You can call or text me. My cell phone number is 918-960-1139.
Okay. We'll give that out again. You'll give that out again at the end of the podcast.
Okay.
Let's go and take another quick break, but we're going to be back with more from Emilianne Cox, a certified athletic administrator and the AD assistant principal at Lincoln High School in Lincoln, Arkansas. Please stay with us. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Huddle for their support of the podcast. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I wanted a platform that was going to work for all of our teams, and Huddle came through like a champ. Our coaches, all of our coaches, our student athletes just loved the tools that Huddle provided that allowed our kids to experience sports at the highest level. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really neat way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or your school's athletic hall of fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. It's also a great way to tell your school's unique history and share your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check them out today. We also want to thank Snap Raise. If you've ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraising platform and ended up with little, if any, return on investment, stop right here. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with tremendous success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms, but if you're looking for a fundraiser, you found it. Go to snapraise.com. You're going to be glad you did. There we go.
All right. Hey, Jake, this is Emily again, and I just want to give a shout out to Huddle. They're great. We actually do it for a live stream for our basketball and for our football, soccer games. So, yeah, they're just great.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Now, I never use, we use Huddle, our coaches used it, et cetera, but at our school, we never got around to using the live streaming. Um, I'm just going to ask a Captain Obvious question. How hard is that to get going and use the live stream feature?
Oh, it's so easy. You just download an app on your phone called Huddle Focus and click whichever spot it is. So we have a football one and we have a gymnasium one, and then we just hit record. And that's that easy. You can set it up in advance, or you could just literally, if you forget, you could hit play right there. So
Yeah, well, we had, all the cameras in our gym and our fields and everything. Our coaches just loved it. We just, before I retired, we just never got around to using the streaming, but I know a lot
yeah.
of schools use it, and like you, they really love it. So thanks for
Oh my
sharing
gosh.
with that.
So I'll even share this part about Huddle too. So whenever I had a baby like right before at September 1st, right before basketball season. So my assistant coach was practicing the kids and I was watching it from my house, live streaming it. I was the only one on it watching this practice. And I would call her and be like, hey, that was not what I wanted to see in practice. Tell them to do it again. So I was like watching practice, but I was at home from Huddle. Yeah, it was great.
I
I don't
love it.
know.
I'm going to
I've never
share
told anyone that story but my husband, but yeah,
well,
it's
guess
great.
with your permission, I'm going to share
Oh,
that with our
yes.
friends at Huddle. Okay.
Yes. That's awesome.
That's going to be great. I love it. Good for you. Um, Emily Ann, one of the things we try to do with this podcast is share best practices. And you've already done a great job of sharing some things, but um, what are some things that you do at Lincoln High School that you're particularly proud of that you haven't already shared that you can share with our listeners now? What are some best practices?
Okay. I'm a checklist person. Somebody tells me they need something done or they need my help with something, I'm gonna write it down. So I don't forget. I mean, I know that um no one's, like I've said, no one's perfect before, but I will try. If you ask me to do something, I'm gonna either tell you I can't do it, or I'm gonna figure out a way to do it, but I'm never gonna just um not pay attention to what's needed. So always be an active listener and like I said, do a checklist. And that's something I tell my coaches too. Whenever you're here with me, just be present. Just because your eyes are on me, are you listening to what I'm saying? Communication, just ties into that. So come full circle is be a good communicator.
I love every one of them. Great stuff. Now, I've got a question for you. Obviously, you're not a rookie, but you're more at the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess you probably have had, and maybe you do right now. Let's say a veteran coach that's been around for a while. What are some things that you've done as a leader, as the athletic director, to let the coach know that you're there to support them and help them, but also, whether it's subtly or more in their face, let them know,
Right.
hey, I'm the athletic director here and the buck kind of stops here. How do you uh, manage that aspect of leadership?
Um, so I to tie all those in, like with communication, all of what I was saying is about being compassionate. So, um, being a passionate communicator is one of my strengths, and I just probably over communicate with those people. I do have one older coach, but he's very laid back. I don't have any pushback from him. I would definitely say it's more of the coaches that are my age. The younger ones don't have pushback, but it's the ones that are my age that are kind of like, you're telling me to do this, and I'm like, no, I'm not telling you. I'm asking you, and it needs to be done. So it's how you word it. It's
Right,
not saying, go do this. It's how can I help you get this done?
right.
And coming up with those word phrases that are not being too pushy, but letting them know that's what is expected of them. Um, without, like I said, shoving them off the edge and said, get this done now. Now, if it does come to that point, I'm not afraid to step to that point, but I think that I've got a good relationship with everyone, and it starts with that. If I've got an open door policy um all around encompassing, then I think that it will just continue to be okay. And I always ask for input. So I know that you asked about, what's something that I'm prideful that I've started and we've continued here. So we have this thing called the Alpha Commitment, and every coach and every athlete, 7-12, will do one day of workouts together in the summer. So it's July 23rd this summer, and it's going to be amazing. Like we're going to have everyone do like a putt golf, and they've got to do a relay, they've got a bear crawl. We've done this before, so this is actually going to be our 5th year of doing it. And we've kind of just modified it and molded it, make it better. One year we did the Murph together. So yeah, that's one way we keep every athlete and coach together and not against each other, is we do one day of impactfulness, and sometimes we might even have a speaker come speak. So yeah, sorry, I kind of threw that in there.
I love that idea. And again, with having all your coaches on staff, that's going to make it a lot easier to coordinate that. Um, What's some when that idea or that tradition was first presented or you first heard about it, what was some of the initial discussion points? Is this will never work, or hey, it's a great idea, or what was that discussion like?
So it happened, our first year was right before COVID. And before COVID, everyone was not that we were all separated, but COVID was crazy. So it was that summer right before COVID hit, and we just had all of us coaches had a crazy idea of like, let's get everyone unified, let's get everyone together. We could kind of tell maybe like some, female male competition could be happening. So we split all the grades up. Like maybe and we didn't have like true leadership, was another issue. So we had, seniors paired with seventh graders. And you know what? We had some groups that seventh graders were leaders and not the freshmen or the seniors that were in that group. And they had to finish an obstacle course. So they had to, push a sled 100 yards, come back and flip a tire 100 yards, but they did it as a group. Um, One time we did an obstacle course, so they had to go like do a cheerleading, can't do stunts, but some kind of safety cheerleading. Then they had to go shoot a basketball. Then they had to like throw a football from across the floor and like they had to catch it. So, and these groups were like, females, males together, and then it could be all grades. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And I think that's something that our coaches talk about each year whenever we come meet before we do it the next year is they're like, I always ask who wants to be on the committee to make it, and like there's a lot of them. So that's part's fun is how can we make that day meaningful? And so we actually ask our Army National Guard to come too. So they come and like they work out with us. We offer this to our community members. We have parents that come. We have like our security officers, they come and work out with the kids. So it's really like a community engagement also, all encompassing.
Oh, wow. It sounds great. I think that in itself would be a great CMA project, but I don't want to steer
Oh,
you away from the QPA.
yeah, we've talked about maybe that because Julie Kelly and I, we talked about what we want to do, and she said maybe hers is QPA too. So we don't know what we're gonna do.
Well,
Julie and
maybe
I are talking
maybe the
about it.
two of you can get in the QPA cohort and it
Yes,
just becomes a year long
yeah,
project. So
right.
anyway,
I'm actually in the mentor
oh,
cohort this year for
look
in the
at you.
NIAA.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Emily, this has been really cool spending some time with you, getting to
Yes.
know you a little bit, but we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. Now, you certainly know your way around the world of athletics, but we're going to take our final break here from Athletic Surveys, who sponsored this segment. When we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 items in their toolbox. So let's take our last break. And when we come back, we're going to see what Emilianne Cox puts into her new athletic director toolbox. We'll be right back. We'd like to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. Athletic surveys are about connections. They're going to connect you with your parents, with your student athletes, with your coaches. Speaking of parents, you probably already are connected to some of those parents, the ones that want to complain or gripe about everything. Well, athletic surveys will connect you to them, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your parents that support your program. And that information is tremendously valuable, especially when you're talking to a frustrated parent or maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Emilianne Cox. She is a certified athletic administrator. She's the director of athletics and assistant principal at Lincoln High School in Lincoln, Arkansas. Has a really incredible background in athletics, but right now I'm going to challenge her to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job, but I'm only going to let her put 3 things in the toolbox. So, Emilianne, what 3 things are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
All right. One is show support to your coaches. I know that I'm at the high school majority of my time, so I have to share that with the middle school because I have coaches over there that I need to go check on. So just recently we had our athletic banquet, we had leftover food, and I fed the coaches at the high school, and I was like, I have got to go take the coaches some at the middle school. So I messaged them all and remind really quickly, and I said, hey, who wants a lunch? And one of my good friends who's leaving me, she's actually one of my coach's wives. She helped me pack up like 8 boxes of food and we drove it over to the middle school. It's not that far, but just making sure that they're not left out because it can feel separated. I've been in a building where, the athletic director is not there and you just get to talk to those other coaches that you're around all the time more often. So don't leave them out any way that you can. That's the first one. Second one, I've got two books for you. I'm bundling it into one. So the first one is Character Carved in Stone by Pat Williams. It is about the 12 core values at the Army, and it is amazing. You will find out what kind of leader you are. I'm actually doing that with my mentor cohort through the NIAAA. That's the book that we're reading together. And the other book is called Fearless by Eric Bellum, and it is about an Arkansas man who went through a bunch of adversity and came out on top, and he became a Navy SEAL. So not only did he, join the Navy, but he became a Navy SEAL, and it's even a great book to push to students. If you've got some kids that are going through some adversity and you don't know how to get to them, I was went through that as a female athletic director. I have some boys that, maybe they just need a strong man in their life that is not their football coach that they can lean on. I've given this book to them. I've given them to four of my boy athletes, and they really loved it. So I bundled that into one, two books that I wanted to talk about. And then the third one from my toolbox is social media. Man, that is the face of athletics right now. I feel like, and high school, I don't know what it is, but everyone wants to know about what you're doing, what's the new thing, how can I get there? So any way you can push your social media, even if you have a coach that is into creating graphics or slideshows or a hype video. We've got a media day coming up. I'm telling you, these kids love social media. So any way that you can push your athletes out there, even if they don't want to play college, whatever sport they want to, just getting them some kind of fame, their parents are going to love it.
Well, I love them all, and just going in reverse order, the social media one, you're absolutely right. And there are a number of platforms out there that make
Yeah.
it so easy for an athletic director to do that. And you bring up a great point. You don't have to necessarily do it yourself. Find a head coach or an assistant coach that likes that sort of thing, and task them with being your social media guru. Give him a title, sports information director. Because again, it's so easy to do that. And having spent a lot of my career in schools that were combined, middle school, high school, some even K through 12, you're absolutely right. Making sure that all of your coaches know that you're there, can appreciate that they've got somebody to go to. You brought up that point many times, having somebody to go to. And the continuing education, love the books, great titles. I was writing them down. I'm going to add them to my library too. Emilianne, one more time, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and add you to their network, build their network, or just pick your brain and find out some of the cool things you're doing, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yep, you can text or call me at 918-960-1139, and also give out my email. It's ecox@lincolncsd.com.
Okay. And I'm going to guess that information is also available on the NIAAA membership portal.
Yep.
Emilianne, thanks so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to share with our listeners. All the best coming up at the Oklahoma Conference and at the Border States Summit. And let's definitely make a plan to connect in Austin at the National Conference this year.
Oh, yes, sir. Sounds great.
Okay. For our listeners, we appreciate you tuning in. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day, sharing best practices. So we hope you come back for another segment on the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks again.